By the end of this audio, I'm hoping that I will have decided on the institution I feel would best be suited to publish a magazine like mine, Onyx, a fresh take on the R&B genre of music, incorporating hip-hop, dance, as well as pop and soul artists. With the development of Web 2.0, I understand that the magazine industry is currently in a heavy state of flux due to the revolutionising media landscapes and audiences therefore expecting to obtain their information fast, free and virtual. However, from a recent BBC article on the 14th of February this year, it was said that for some people print is still very important. Therefore, I'm going to be looking for a magazine publisher which can offer me success after having considered a range of different factors. The first media institution I'm going to take into account is IPC, which stands for International Publishing Corporation, and they are the UK's leading consumer magazine and digital publisher. They produce 60 magazines in Britain, including Nuts, Woman's Own, Marie Claire, Loaded, and these magazines get bought by 26 million people a month, and their websites get visited by over 26 million people globally. And that includes almost 2/3 of UK women and over 40% of UK men. What they also do is they create content for multiple platforms, not only across print and online, but also through mobile, tablets and events. The magazines published by this company which are most relevant to my media product include Enemy and Uncut, as they are both music magazines but are very different genres to my own. They are the only two music magazines published by IPC, and both attract audiences who are fans of the indie or indie rock genre of music. Therefore, my audience would not be interested in them. However, an advantage of working with IPC may be that my magazine Onyx would bring them something that they've never tried before. It would be the only R&B magazine they publish, and therefore might attract a different kind of audience if advertised and promoted very well, which would broaden their audience and increase readership of my magazine, and therefore increase profit margins for both me and the institution. This said, I feel that these types of magazines that IPC currently own are just far too different from mine. The categories they sell include TV guides or entertainment, lifestyle and home, fashion and gossip magazines, women's magazines and sport and leisure magazines, all of which actually appeal to a much older and mainly female target audience, as they are all majorly to do with celebrity gossip and television, two things that from my research of the urban segment, my target audience will not be interested in. In addition to this, it doesn't look like I would make much profit from publishing with IPC Media. According to circulation figures in 2013 published by ABC, Uncut saw a circulation of 56,894, which was down by 9.7% year on year, and NME, the New Musical Express magazine, was down to a staggering 18,184 circulation in 2013, and this had gone down by an average of 16.4% year on year. So they were extremely large drops, and therefore this just adds to the fact that IPC wouldn't be the best publisher for me. But I'll come back to figures later. The media institution number 2 that I had to consider was Hearst Corporation, which is the parent company that produces 300 worldwide magazines with their UK company and subsidiary Hearst Magazines UK. Hearst Magazines UK publishes 20 magazines in Britain, including Cosmopolitan, Men's Health, Elle, Esquire, Good Housekeeping and Company, and they also run 20 major websites including getlippy.com and sugarscape.co.uk. They publish 30 international newspapers, 2 radio stations, 30 international TV channels, 3 international online channels, and several real estate companies. They also co-own another magazine company with the US company Rodale, called NatMag Rodale, which is primarily focused on advertising health magazines, with names such as Men's Health being amongst their most successful ventures. The advantages of publishing with Hearst, therefore, would be that it's an extremely large company with many advertising opportunities around it due to the multi-platform brands that they own, and therefore my magazine could potentially gain lots of advertising and reach audiences that I would otherwise be unable to reach. However, the major disadvantage is that my magazine, being an R&B music magazine, doesn't fit in any way, shape or form with the magazines currently owned by this publisher, and in fact the demographics that their most successful magazines such as Good Housekeeping and Men's Health aim to target are of the much older generation. Well, not much older, but between 25 to 40-year-old men and women who are seeking to self-improve and maximise their lifestyles, and therefore the laid-back, urban and sort of cutting-edge style of my magazine isn't something that would appeal to those looking for life advice. It would appeal to those who spend a lot of leisure time listening to music and on social media. So for that reason, I think my magazine is therefore too eccentric for this publishing company, and although Hearst do co-own their own distribution company, Comag, which would come with many advantages, it still remains that Onyx wouldn't be very successful, especially with no music magazines coming successfully out of this company so far. So I don't think that Hearst Corporation would be able to benefit my magazine as much as another publisher could. The third institution I needed to look at was a much smaller institution, but it's called Future PLC, which publishes over 150 magazines in fields such as music, photography, video games, technology and cycling, to name just a few. They also publish across multiple platforms including online and print, like the other two institutions. They currently publish 6 music magazines as well as an online and mobile one, and some names of these include Guitarist Techniques, Total Guitar, Rhythm, Future Music and Computer Music. Now many of these are quite unknown, but as you can see they're all instrumental music magazines. An advantage of choosing Future PLC to publish my magazine is that mine would be the first to be based on an actual genre of music, the R&B genre, which, if taken well, could really boost the company's presence in the music magazine industry, making them more visible and making my magazine seen by more intrigued potential customers and consumers. However, the instrumental magazines published are extremely specific and targeted to very niche markets, and with 3 separate subcultures, the trackies, trendies and get paid crew, all tied into my target audience of the urban segment, I think that my magazine wouldn't be noticed enough by people who will be interested in it, and therefore wouldn't be very successful with Future PLC. In addition to this, the circulation figures for Rhythm, magazine published by Future PLC in 2013 was a staggering 8,097 per month, which, well, if you compare that to NME, which has really seen a bad decrease, NME still was at the 18,000 mark, but Rhythm is at the 8,000 mark, which suggests to me that I really need to stay away from that publishing company because my magazine wouldn't be very successful. The final institution that I wanted to look at was Bauer Media, who produce over 280 magazines worldwide, with 80 of those in Britain, including Bliss, Grazia, Empire, FHM, Heat, Kerrang, Take a Break and Q. They reach over 90 million UK adults every week, which, makes IPC's 26 million a month seem very meagre. And also they own Kiss 100, Magic 105.4 and 4 Music. They connect people, they claim to connect people and communities with compelling and quality content whenever, wherever and however they want. The magazines published by this company, which are most relevant to me, are Mojo, Q and Kerrang. The Bauer Media Group are a strong contender to be the publisher for my magazine because not only are they extremely well established, but due to how diverse they are and the different divisions that they incorporate, placing my magazine with Bauer would mean that I'll know there's a possibility that it will be viewed by thousands of people because of their huge target audience. And publishing already 3 magazines of very similar genres and them still surviving in the business quite well compared to NME, for example, from IPC, which is now seeing a slow death. It's quite encouraging that although these three magazines are of the same genre, they're all really still doing well, working together in the industry. And it's also quite encouraging, especially where circulation figures are considered, as despite the fact that many magazines are going downhill at the moment, Mojo, Kerrang and Q are still only down by a highest of 8.7%, contrasting to the staggering NME figures and Future PLC's bad circulation. Specifically, Mojo has a circulation in 2013 of 79,345, so that was down by 6.8%. Q saw 58,980, which was down 8.7%, the highest. And then Kerrang saw 37,603, which was down by 6.5% year on year. So although all down, they're still not as decreased as the figures of some of the others that I've looked at. Since the current genres they have on offer don't include any sort of R&B, they're all sort of indie rock magazines, by placing my magazine with Bauer Media, it would mean that it's not only beneficial to me but also to the company, as it could potentially increase their profit margins, as they would have a filled gap in the market, and this might increase their power within the fragmented market almost instantly if advertised successfully. And although I understand that it may be difficult to encourage them to pursue yet another music magazine, as they might argue that music magazines aren't doing very well at the moment, I would say that with the addition and added advantage of their multi-platform brands and music stations such as Magic, Kiss 100 and 4 Music, all of which my target audience tend to listen to on a regular basis, my audience will not only be addressed, but Onyx, through synergy, could be complemented by many other publishing areas that Bauer has to offer. Taking all of these facts and figures into consideration, I believe that overall I would choose the Bauer Multimedia Institution to publish my magazine, because although all institutions' magazine sales are on the decrease, the magazines which are published by the IPC have seen a larger drop than magazines published by Bauer. Bauer's also worldwide, which means that my magazine could be distributed to foreign countries around the world, which would increase the profit margin of my magazine, and as it publishes 38 million magazine copies per week compared to IPC, which only publishes 350 million copies per year, this would suggest that Bauer has a bigger yearly profit margin, and for all of these reasons I believe that Bauer Media would be the best choice of publishing institution for my music magazine.